I've recently received some requests from people asking about some advice on how to throw larger or heavier opponents. So I think that's really a good request because it's fairly common. So let's kind of delve into that. This video you're going to watch here, this thing here is quite long. It's well over an hour in length. And what I did, I compiled 20 different videos and put them together. And I'm going to provide some commentary up front here, and I'm just going to let it roll. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here. And these are the videos, these are the techniques that through my own experience as a coach, and I've coached a lot of people for a lot of years at all levels of judo, sambo, submission wrestling, all that, submission grappling. So, I've a fair amount of experience. This is based on my experience plus some experience from some other people I conferred with. But these throws are the ones that I've seen that have worked with the highest rate of success. And again, when we talk about rate of success is, how do you define success in that sense? Well, success is the technique works for you and it's fit to you, fit to your body and your temperament and your style and your whatever sport it may be. And it works for you when you need it to work for you. And it works with a high rate of success. You can work with a variety of different opponents. So that's what we're looking for here, and that we're looking for very functional success, and that's what this is. So these 20 different moves, some are very similar. Like we have down the line, you'll watch several different ways to do Tomoe Nage. Okay, so because Tomoe Nage is a great throw for a shorter opponent against a taller opponent. And all these are based on this. They're all based against a shorter opponent, against a taller opponent, or a heavier opponent. And that's what the whole concept here is. But again, these are from my experience as a coach. And as a coach, and I'm speaking to some coaches now, I'm 6'4". And, not everybody is my height. And as a coach, if I want to be successful with a wide variety of different athletes, I have to alter things to make it work for them. And that's I think that's just good coaching. So, don't just coach the way you do judo or the way you do sambo. Coach it to what works best for that athlete or that student. So that's what I've always tried to do, and I think that's what we're looking at here in this this accumulation, this compilation of different videos. Always use your height or size in general to your advantage, okay? And that's really important. When years ago, back in 1976, in fact, Morris Allen said to me, when I started training with him, learning sambo, and also a great amount of judo as well, he said, make the technique work for you. Make the judo work for you. Make the technique work for you. Mold it to make it work so it works for you best, okay? So learn the basics. Learn how to do it exactly, technically correct, and then modify it to works best for your body type. Okay, so that's the best advice really I can give you. And when I was asking my wife Becky, who when she was competing, she was 5'3", and she competed in different weight classes from like 134, 145, and even an open once in a while in judo. And I think she competed in 141 and 149 in sambo. So she was usually shorter than her opponents. And she said, there was a range of throws that she did best, that worked best for her because one, she was suited best for them. And that's true. And I'm going to talk about that in a second here. But really, there are a lot of throws that she modified to make them work best for her under the circumstances she wanted them to work for. And I also confirmed with Don Hinchcliffe, who I coach with him quite a bit. I've known Don for many, many years. He was a really, really good lightweight in his day in judo. And he competed often against taller opponents. And you'll see him in some videos in this, some segments in this longer video here. You'll see him doing some coaching. And he modified a lot of things to work best for him for his height. You modify not just the technique, but how you approach the technique, how you set the tempo of the fight, how you set the tempo of the match, how you grip. All these things, you modify them, you mold them to work best for you. Okay. One example you're going to watch later in this video, in fact, early on in this video, I take a lot of time on showing how to do Ippon Seoi Nage using a lapel grip, a shoulder grip, controlling the shoulder. And I found with working, of course, athletes with all sizes, but primarily working with athletes who are shorter than their opposition, grabbing at the shoulder and controlling that, you literally make him come or her come to your height. You can control them better by controlling your shoulders, anchoring it there, and then using that. You'll see when I show that video, it is basically you'll be holding left and holding right and throwing left, or holding left and throwing right, whatever it may be. But you're throwing in the opposite direction. You're controlling the shoulder. That's what I'm talking about here. And my wife used that often. She used that often. So it's not just the technique. It is how you mold that technique. It's the skill you apply when doing the technique. Okay, you make it work for you. Okay, so that's really important. So it's not just how do I alter the physical structure of Uchimata or Seoi Nage or whatever it may be. You also alter how you grip, how you move, how fast you move, what part of the mat you do it on. A lot of factors, a lot of considerations. So keep that in mind. That's the number thing. There are certain techniques that work better for some people as opposed to others. I compare, say, Judo or Sambo very much to boxing. So it sounds weird, but hear me out. If any of you old-timers will remember a guy named Joe Frazier, who was a heavyweight champion, and he was short, compact, heavyweight, and he could left hook anybody, and he had a devastating left hook. There were other fighters who were a similar body type that were tremendous left hookers. That worked best for him, and he had lots of ways to set a guy up with that left hook. I always equated a left hook to Seoi Nage, because a lot of my athletes who've been shorter than their opposition have been terrific Seoi Nage athletes. They've done Seoi Nage in various ways. Ippon Seoi Nage, both hands, lapel style, whatever. They have used both sleeves Seoi Nage. They've used it a lot, and it really works. So Seoi Nage is really, tall guys can use it, but it's great for a shorter athlete. Okay, Tomoe Nage is another one of those techniques that is perfect for a short athlete, a shorter athlete than his or her opposition. I never had success with it because I'm tall, but I would modify things. So, I could do Sumi Geishi or Hikomi Geishi, which I always said were the tall man's Tomoe Nage. And it's true. So there are some techniques that work better for others, for some body types as opposed to others. Another one that I strongly recommend is Ko-uchi Gare, Ko-uchi Makikomi, Ko-uchi Gake, those type of things, especially the Ko-uchi Gake / Makikomi. That has a real high rate of success for shorter athletes as opposed to taller athletes, because you are getting between underneath their center of gravity and between their legs and taking their legs out from underneath them. My wife used that a lot in her career, as I saw other athletes. Another good athlete was Anne Maria DeMars. Anne Maria, even though she fought at the lighter body weights, anywhere from 106 to 114 on up to 123 in judo, she was short. And she used, again, Seoi Nage, Ko-uchi Gare, Ko-uchi Makikomi, Ko-uchi Gake, and Tomoe Nage, often as setups. So again, there are techniques that are going to work better for a certain body type, but that doesn't mean another body type can't use them well either. You can't adapt them. I'm tall, and there are certain things that Ippon Seoi Nage, I use Seoi Nage even though I was tall. So, and a lot of my athletes have done the same thing. So again, there are certain things that work for some athletes that may not work as well for others. You will find them. One last note. This doesn't happen overnight. Again, work on the basics, drill hard, drill on the basics. Work on things that are going to work best for you eventually, but you've got to learn those basics first. Drill, drill, and drill, and just experiment. Have an open mind. That's the best thing you can do as a coach or an athlete. When you want to find something that works best for you, have an open mind and experiment. Don't say, well, I'm this height, I can't do this particular throw. Okay, a good example, one last thing here, a good example is Ura Nage, the rear throw. There are a lot of variations of Ura Nage, but I have found you don't need a lot of power or big muscularity to do Ura Nage well, and it is a great counter throw for people who are shorter than their opposition. And I'm going to show that in one segment here, one video clip here that you'll see in this longer show today. So anyway, there are a lot of things that you can use, And I've tried to really rack my brain the best that I've seen over my experience as a coach working with all levels of athletes. These are the techniques that I believe work best for a shorter athlete against a taller athlete or against a heavier athlete. So that being said, I hope you enjoy the video. Hope you get something out of it. And again, like always, when you see something, keep an open mind. Don't hesitate to change anything to make it work best for you. So enjoy the show. Seoi Nage. Seoi means to carry. Seoi means to carry over the back. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean shoulder. A lot of people, we call it shoulder because it's easiest to say. Seoi Nage means to carry over the back throw. And there are three primary styles, okay? And we work a lot on Ippon Seoi Nage. So if basic Ippon Seoi Nage is there, it comes in and it's like this. Morote, there are two other styles. Morote, where it coming in this way, okay? And you can see, kind of turn around face with it. And so she'll come in, and that's the Morote like that, the Morote Seoi Nage. And the Eri, the lapel, E-R-I, Eri, is off the, he's just going to come in, it's kind of a 2-on-1. So he's got this, and it's a very powerful one, and he'll swing in, and that's the Eri style, okay? And these are the basic variations of it. So we're going to work tonight on the Morote, both hand carry over the back, both hand shoulder throw, and the Eri, lapel, shoulder throw or carry over the back throw. So let's look at Morote first. There are a couple of basic ways to do even that, okay? Derek has a preference where he likes to put his elbow under deeply under the armpit, and that works really well for him. You can see that. We have another guy in our club, Warren Frank, used that same style too. You see a lot of the very good Japanese technicians, they get so low under and they do that. But there's another style where you kind of curl. And that's what Donnie Hinchcliffe was talking about the other day. We were working on a little bit this, where you just curl your arm under slightly. You don't jam it. It's curled there, okay? And that's if the guy's got a pretty tight gi, pretty tight lapel. It's hard to whip it up, okay? And he would come in and just spit in, and just right there in front of the chest and throw. It's a matter of personal preference or style. Either way are good. They both work really well. It's just what you like to do. So experiment with them tonight and see what you think. But let's look at the way he likes to do it, which is more now. One thing, standard Seoi Nage, he's going to get a little longer grip. And the reason is he wants to open his opponent up. And we want a nice long grip here, so he's got to have a lot of space right in here. Another thing might help, if you have this gi, if you kind of open it up a little bit, get nice and floppy, okay? Where you got some space, because you want to have them open. And you may see a Seoi Nage type guy, he'll be doing this a little bit on you, and think, uh-oh, here comes the Morote, okay? So you may see that. So what he's got a fairly low grip. Now you could grab up here high too, as you're standing, let's pull up like that. But in any event, he wants to pop him where he opens him up, so there's a lot of hole here. Because what he's going to do, he's going to slide his arm right under there, and he's going to spin in and finish it, okay? All right, just kind of come in nice and smooth, So watch, so I won't interrupt him, so he just comes right in. Boom. Now, how you stand under him, totally up to you. I'm a big, tall guy, so when I come in, if I were to do this, I'm not a Morote guy, but if I were, my body would be more like this, turning, okay? And throw them over my hips, okay? Can you replicate that? That's one way of turning the body, okay? See that way? That's a very good standard way of doing it. Another way that the Japanese use a lot, and they're very good at this, by the way, is what Derek has been doing here, where it's kind of a low, kind of a squatting almost, okay? So he comes under him, and when see that? And watch, he just, boom, lifts him up and over. That's where you literally are carrying him over your back. That's who this throw gets its name from, that movement right there, okay? So that's two ways to do it. So we had two ways to do the grip, which is open up the elbow underneath the elbow or curl it in, okay? We had two ways, basic ways, and we're talking, there are a lot of variations, don't get me wrong, but basic way of coming in where Derek was coming in very low squatting type style, or the other one was more of a turning rotational style, okay? One more of each, and do the rotational style first. And it works very good. I've seen a lot of good tall guys with stand-up Seoi Nages. You don't have to be tall, but it could be just a preference. The other one is a lower squatting style where you're almost literally dipping under them, like that. Very good. That's the Morote style. The only difference here now, when we go to Eri, E-R-I, Eri Seoi Nage, lapel, is instead of grabbing this lapel, he's grabbing his right hand on the right lapel. And when he does this, he curls under and does the same throw. Really, it's just a variation of how you grab the lapels. Morote means both hands. Morote, double hand, okay? Both hands. Eri just is lapel. It signifies a 2-on-1. That's the only difference. So when you get the standard 3 styles of Seoi Nage, you have the Ippon Seoi Nage, like this. There you go, standard Ippon Seoi Nage. Morote Seoi Nage, both hands. That was one arm Seoi Nage. Okay, and other one is Eri, lapel. Okay. Let's have one more thing to add. Now, the only thing I would say when you're doing Morote, don't bend your wrist. You want to curl it, okay? You want to curl. So as you're doing, even if you're doing the one like this one, you'll get really, it'll hurt, and you won't have much power. So when you do this, curl it in and sit in like that, rather than bend the wrist. And that's a bad habit. A lot of guys like to do that because it kind of looks cool, but it really hurts the wrist. And I would say Morote, that really also causes good old Seoi Nage elbow. Yeah. I've known some really good Seoi Nage guys in my career through the years. And one guy I used to train with all the time, he was a lefty, and he ended up with a really kind of like tennis elbow, because he did so much Morote Seoi Nage, and he was really good at it too. But he ended up, he said he just couldn't use his elbow for, anything much, because he had basically tennis elbow with a Morote. So
you get around that all in or all out, just like Steve was saying. You either curl your wrist in to protect the torsion as you're coming in, or you jam the elbow all the way through so that he's on your forearm as you come through and use your legs. Either way, you're not coming through, like that.
Yeah, you don't want to bend the wrist.
Right, because now all the force is on my wrist. That's how I jack up my elbow. Okay, so jam through. Correct. See, it's like I'm holding a waiter's tray right there. And then everything else becomes your legs, which is what Seoi Nage is mostly about.
Now, we could do this as a knee drop as well, knee drop Seoi Nage, but I'm going to show you another one. Warren Frank did this, one of our guys. He was a silver medalist in the World Sambos many years ago. Heck of a judo player, too. He was kind of a tall, lean guy for his body weight. He fought at middleweights, 172, thereabouts. But he fought a lot of tall guys, too. So get your legs kind of wide, be kind of bent over. Now, Derek, he's Morote, get a Morote grip. And what Derek wants to do now, and believe me, we didn't invent this. This is just good old standard Japanese judo. He would literally hop under the guy, squat under him, and like that, okay? But actually, come on out so you can do it. I had to stop him there. But now watch, when he hops under him, through that nice big hole there, watch what he does. Going like that, okay? Now, you can do both knees like he did, or you come up really low in a squat, and like that. Try that one this time. It almost looks like he's dropping on his knees, but he's not. He's squatting. He's
ass to heels.
Yeah, ass to heels, that's right. And that's what you see a lot of the Japanese do, especially the lightweights. That was their style of Seoi Nage, and they were dynamite with it. They still are. It's a great, great technique. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. That squatting, that very low squat. Did everybody see that? We good? Okay, let's work a lot on that tonight because it's a great series of throws. Let's do the Morote and the Eri style Seoi Nage. Okay? Good deal. Knee drop Seoi Nage, but I want to show some things to do good knee drop Seoi Nage here. First of all, I'm a righty, and I'm going to use a right knee drop Seoi Nage. So I'm going to hold left. I'm going to hold left hand on the lapel, right hand on the sleeve. Everybody see this here? Okay. All right. So when I do this, what I want to do, he thinks I'm holding lefty, I'm a lefty. And a lot of people use this. This is very, very effective. If you have your hip cuts, thank you very much. All right. So I've got this here. Now my left hand, guys, whether you come over the top or underneath, I like to get the inside grip because you can control. And this left hand, can everybody see this? Let me move around. See this left hand here? That's the anchor. That's, you know, we talk about the anchor hand a lot. That means that's anchored on here. It's like dropping an anchor in the harbor. Okay, and there it is. I've got a lock on there, and he's hooked on there. But it's also, you know, again, we always call it the short grip because there's a shorter distance between his shoulder and mine if I grab out here, right? There's a longer grip there. So I want the short grip here because I want to control his shoulder. That's the thing here. Now I'm holding my left grip here, and you know, and again, we were doing a movement pattern and stuff. You could do that, but right now, let's get the basics of it. Then you put it together in a movement pattern. Just learn the stationary first. All right. What I want to do, I want to pop him up. I'm holding left. Okay. Now I'm going to pop left hand here, and just kind of take him off balance. It's just a quick pop. Okay. I don't need to really make a big deal of it because he's thinking I might pop here. And I might be coming in with some other attack like this, okay? All right. Now, a lot of times to set them up when we're gripping and stuff here, okay, if I have every intention of using a right knee drop Seoi Nage with a left hand grip, look at which foot is leading. My right foot, isn't it? So it's opposite. I didn't step like this to get a feet, sweep up my swoosh, there I go. You don't want that. So when I'm gripping here and stuff like that, there I am there. See, I've set that up, okay? Now, I'm actually leading with my right hip, but he doesn't realize it because he's thinking about this. Okay, that's the setup here, okay? Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a quick pop. It's just a little pop in the direction I want to take him, okay? All right, so I pop, and I want to do that, make a fist with the right hand, and you know how we lock this in place, fist straight up, elbow straight down, and suck it in tight, okay? I don't want to jack him up. I want to roll, I want to literally corkscrew under the guy, okay? All right, so pop here. And when I come into the Seoi Nage, everybody sees it all, spin around the other way too now. Pop them here like this, spin under, okay? Now we all know, a lot of you guys are good at knee drop Seoi Nage, so we're going to practice that again here. All right, so when I pop it, pop here, step in, and just hook, and watch, I corkscrew in. Now new guys, you're going to drop on one knee, then the other, and have your knees pointing to the left and butt to the right. So the brand new guys in the room, start with that so you don't have to, I don't want you to fall down too soon. We want to actually have you rotate completely under him. So you throw him over your body and onto his back, okay?
It's not a flop down on you.
You don't want to flop down, it's not a flop and drop. Okay, what we don't want to do is this. But I'm in trouble. All my kinetic energy goes down to the ground. I wasted it, okay? And I'll hurt my knees, and I'm in a really bad position because I didn't turn all the way in to get the throw in, okay? So, I'm leading here, pop, Seoi Nage, come in, and when I come in, like this, my knees are to the left, my butt's to the right, okay? What I'm actually doing, see how deep I am? See how his feet are straddling my hips out here? I'm ready to throw him. It's hard not to throw him from this position.
And it's not that I widen my legs, he goes right in between where my thighs are and that forces my feet wider.
It's like going bowling and the bowling ball knocks the pins apart. There are the pins and I'm the bowling ball. I'm kind of shaped like a bowling ball these days. So anyway, all right, so leave here, pop, come in, see how deep that is. And now I'm ready to go. Now when I throw, I don't curl up. In wrestling, you want to do that because you don't want to get a slam against you, right? You know, high school wrestling. Our game, we want to slam them. Can you do on somebody?
Let's slam him. Get up here.
So let's set it up here. Got the left hand grip, right hand. Got a left hand, got a left kumikata, right there. Okay, he's going to pop in. He's going to go ahead and spin under. Now see when he finished? Drove all the way through, didn't he? he didn't curl up down. He wanted to finish on top of his opponent. The reason is because he could go right into Osekomi. You know, I mean, he's stuck. That's a natural, get the arm on too, but it's a natural tendency after you throw him, landing on him. In this particular case, that's your insurance policy, guys. You know, if the referee doesn't call Ippon for that, okay, then pin him. That's
Go to pin to win.
yeah, there you go. That's it. Left-hand grip again, real quick. Now see this? Okay, now good. One left grip. I want you to fool. Okay. Now here it is here. Now if he should beat you and get the inside grip, all is not lost. So if you should have, it doesn't matter really. It's your preference. But what you want to do is have this short anchor hand here, the short grip here. This really controls the shoulder. Now you can do a knee drop Seoi Nage, but if you grab the sleeve, there's a lot of space he has to make up there. If he grabs closer to the shoulder when he starts, there's a lot less space he has to make up when he actually comes in and screws under his opponent. That's why this really works well. Okay, you close the space quick, you're underneath him, and you throw him over your body really hard. Okay. Now when he does this, he's going to go ahead and pop in. See that deep? Knees to the left, butt to the right. Look how tight he is here. Okay. Now he just goes and finishes it. Bam. There you go. Also, when you drop on your knees, you don't want your knees, you don't want your toes like this. You'll be off your toes, and that's what Derek was doing. You want to be driving off your toes so you can drive into it and really finish it with a nice Makikomi. I'm going to pull into it one more time. I'm sorry for that. All right, get back. Yeah, get left. Bam. Okay, I'm going to finish. Guys, this doesn't have to be your bread and butter. You know, if you're an Uchi guy, Harai Goshi guy, or whatever. I always thought knee drop Seoi Nage. One, a lot of us liked it. I liked it a lot. A lot of us in our club liked it a lot as our main throw. But this is the kind of throw that's like a change-up throw. You know, it's like a baseball change-up pitch. You know, a guy's a fastball pitcher, and every so often he throws a curve. Well, this is the curve ball right here. And you can really clock a guy, especially if you're holding that left grip and he thinks you're a lefty, all of a sudden it's a righty. It's a change-up move. So this, tactically, it's a really good technique for Judo, Sambo, any type of sport where you use the grappling of the jackets and belts. Okay? Let's give that a try. Play with it. Have fun with it. What we're going to do now is we're going to do Morote Seoi Nage. It's a very nice, very effective way of hitting Morote Seoi Nage off a side movement. It just lends right into this. Now you can do Ippon Seoi Nage or Eri, Lapel Seoi Nage, any variation
Careful,
thereof.
it might land
But
on you.
real quickly here, if the setup's like this, you got to stand as lapel and sleeve kumikata, okay, lapel and sleeve grip. And what I want to do is I want to move sideways, and as I do this, I pop them open. It doesn't require a lot of movement. Again, I like to take a longer grip here. A lot of people do too. And it's just not original to me, but it's just good, solid technique. If I get my lapel here, and if I open them as I step through here like this, I pop them open, and I can step in. It's a side action, okay? We've worked before where we have that alley. Well, this is the case of it here. Where we're working here, and I might just get him to one side step, just side step, one like this, step with me. So step once, boom, and I can swing into it, okay? So that's what it looks like. I might even start back behind him a little bit. Depends on me. You know, it depends on the style I want to do. Now, we're going to do this as a knee drop, but you can clearly do this as a come in where you squat and toss them like that. That's standard, kind of a stand-up, very low slung Seoi Nage. You can do that too. Depends on your body weight, your height in relation to your opponent. But we're going to do it as a knee drop this time. So we're going to spin under him, do all the classic signs of the spinning under him, you know, like under the knee drop. And we're going to do that. So I'm going to have Derek do demo here. So watch. See, he's got a long grip here, low sleeve grip here, standing lapel grip here, and he's going to step sideways. And when he does, he's going to hit him with knee drop Seoi Nage. Bam. very quick, fast Seoi Nage, very fast approach. This is a very popular way to set up Morote Seoi Nage. And just step sideways, hit, boom. Now when you do the knee drop, okay, remember, key rule in knee drop is watch when he does this. When he swings under, he screws himself into the mat. He doesn't do the flop and drop. That's the worst thing you can do because all your weight goes down. If you just flop and drop, but that weight didn't, it was a good one. Do the flop and drop, you just flop under him, you know. We want the kinetic energy. Rather than going down, Derek wants to turn and screw him and screw him over and throw him over his body. But watch, this is the wrong way to do it. He's going to do the flop and drop. Now that's just going to hurt your knees. See, the knees are wide, they're square. It's not a strong movement. Okay?
I'm back, my balance is way back here. I can't drive off my feet anymore because my toes are flat, right? So
we don't want to do that. So just avoid that when you're doing this style, okay? So we're going to do the spin under where we actually screw ourselves into the mat, like I say. And watch his feet. His knees are going to be pointed to the left, hip to the right when he swings in. You see it's a round movement. Remember, Judo and Sambo, when you throw, you want to stay round. They're not straight line activities. They're rounded. So when he finishes, he rounds this called kime, or finishing the technique. Bam. That's that finish. Sorry, man. That finish is the kime, the finish. Okay? You got to stay around and finish. One more time. Now watch how he swings his arm under, and he just sets it up. Wham. See how you finish. That is a nice Seoi Nage. A lot of guys use that with great success. You do the same thing as a one arm, you know, a lapel style, but Morote is quite effective too. Okay, so let's work on that one, and we'll finish out with that, and we'll do some randori. Okay? Great. So before I have him do it, his idea is to come underneath Eric and in a squatting position. So just he comes in just to jump in and see how low he is. See, that's the idea. Now look how far he is between the legs. Even if his legs were together, it's kind of like a bowling ball hitting bowling pins. They go flying everywhere. So even if his legs are close, you can still make them, you can split them open, but if they're a little wider, it makes it all that much easier. So come out again. Now, another thing on this that I think is an important phase of this, or aspect of it, is when Derek throws, he wants his head in front of his knees. In other words, his butt's going to be pretty far back, and he's leaning into the direction of the throw, and rather than being just squatting and being upright, okay? So we're going to show you the wrong way first. Just come in and squat upright, just like you're squatting. Okay, now that could work, don't get me wrong. Some guys may like that. But if you want to get a lot of more ballistic effect, really drill this guy, when you come in, we come back out. When you're coming in, you're going to just literally dive in deep like that. See how low he is? And then when he throws, just go ahead and complete the roll. Wham. See how it works really well too. Sode Surikomi, or Sode Seoi Nage, double sleeves. And it's the same throw, except the upper body's a little change here. Okay? So he's going to jump in real low squat. Wham. There you go. Let's take a look at it again. Wham. And he's being nice.
Otoshi, I like to turn into Seoi Otoshi, and I know that you guys have been working on your Seoi Nage. So we'll start off with the Otoshi, and then we'll turn it into a Seoi Otoshi. Okay, so you can get that shoulder rolling of those shoulders.
I'm going to come around here, viewers, to come around to this backside.
I'm going to talk about his left hand.
There's background noise in the gym. Please excuse it. We're having Donnie Hinchcliffe coach Tai Otoshi, Seoi Otoshi tonight.
Low, or hold it up here by the bicep.
So please listen carefully. We've got a lot of background boxing noise in the background.
Then to try to control this arm when you throw. With Tai Otoshi or Seoi Otoshi, you really got to control this arm, because this arm is going to either guide him out this way or guide him across this way. So when you practice this one, at least when you practice it, get down underneath that elbow. I like the back of my thumb to feel his elbow, so I know and I control this arm. If I don't control this arm and he can bend this arm, he'll stop this throw. Okay? So, I'll get right underneath the elbow. I feel his elbow with the back of my thumb so I know I'm in the right spot. I do Seoi Otoshi or Tai Otoshi with 3 steps. I start with 3 steps and then we turn it into 1 or 2 or 1 steps. But I always start with 3 and I look at a semicircle between his toes and I put my big toe right in the middle. Here.
He's putting his foot in between his opponent's stance, everyone, if you can't hear from the background
along his
noise.
side and it's going to lift, but I always think to control his head. So my hand is going to be right here by his jaw. My elbow is going to be my forearm up here along his chest with my elbow in his stomach. This hand, for Tai Otoshi, is going to lead him out. So you turn your hand this way like you're looking at your watch, and you continue that turn as your body turns. I'm watching that wrist, and that's how I'm leading him around. So 1, and I get him up on that toe. 2, his foot comes around by his left foot. My left foot spins around by his left foot. 1, 2, and I'm leading him, and 3, I put this foot down on my toes and I bend this knee. When I watch some of you throw your Tai Otoshis, we're not getting this knee bent. And I see a lot of like this, and then this leg goes straight. And most of the time when it's straight, I'm blocking his knee, and then I have to muscle him over it. If I just drop it below, his knee will pass there and he's going to fall.
And you know, guys, just a real bit of geek terminology technique stuff. He's teaching an otoshi, a dropping movement, but then also the word otoshi means to trap and block. So that's what Donnie's talking about, is trapping that knee with his knee, the movement of the bending the knee. And it just traps Eric's leg and foot.
So I want you to concentrate on grip in 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. On your toes, knee bent so you get underneath that knee, and we don't push him backwards, and we don't block him from being able to go over. We don't have to muscle him over, he's just going to fall over. We'll work on that for just a minute, and then we'll turn it into a Seoi Otoshi, where we'll let this arm come all the way through. Okay, but for now, elbow in his stomach, controlling his head this way. This hand's going to lead him out. 1, 2. Okay?
Don, can you do that? Kind of aim, yeah, kind of turn around just a little. There you go, just that perfect position there. Okay, so he's going to demo from this position, everybody. There we go. Watch this. I think you'll enjoy this. Can I have you guys demo this? Mike, what he's going to do is a double sleeve, real low knee drop type. Everybody watch this. Now, this has come up a lot of frequency. We see more and more in like Sambo, you'll see this, and BJJ. Guys are real bent over. We're seeing this a lot in Judo today, too. You know, any type of a gi grappling sport where they're doing this. So, Mike is bent over, he's defensive, he's trying to avoid, okay? All right. Now, so Derek wants to throw him. He wants to get him down, he wants to score points. So what we're going to do, in this position, we've kind of worked on this lately, where we've got this real crash low opponent, and it might be difficult for Derek to get up and get a hold of the lapel, control the shoulders, to control the hips better. That might be tough. So he's going to have to settle for a longer grip. This is where the idea of a long grip or a real far out grip with a double sleeve type thing is really effective. So he's going to get at the very low sleeves here. If you get, you know, the what do you call it, the pistol grip, you can get that, or you just get a low grip, whatever you can get, but get at the ends. Okay, there. Now, why don't you turn around this way so that we get the camera here, so we'll see here. So there, the camera. Okay, good. Now, what's going to happen is Mike doesn't want, he's being defensive. He doesn't want Derek to approach him. So Derek's going to have to create just enough of an opening that he's going to be able to slide in to get a knee drop throw on. It's a Sode sleeve, knee drop, Seoi Nage type throw. You're still carrying him over the back, so it's still a Seoi Nage to carry over the back. So watch what he does. So it's here. Now, very quickly, now if Derek were to do this wrong and pull, Mike would know he'd get out, right? So you don't want to pull and make it a big deal. Don't make a big deal of it. That's the key thing. With this hand, his right hand, he's gonna step with his right foot across, just enough. Derek, step with your right foot across as you step in. Boom, just enough of that. Now don't pull it too much too high. Even you can keep it fairly low, so he knows that, okay? Now Mike, if he's really resisting, he may even like back out or whatever. That opens it up even more for Derek, okay? So what we want to do here, Derek's gonna slide his wrist across, both double sleeve, as he's going to really attack. Now, he's not going to make a big move here. He's just going to move it across there. See, that opens everything up there? That's all he needs to come in and do his knee drop. Okay? Go ahead and swing your knee down from there. Boom, there you go. That's all he needs. See that little bit of room that he opened it up with that little bit of movement to the right. Okay? So you can see here, he's got this grip. He moves it just enough, swings it over. Now that, even if Mike were to cut away or start away, still opened it up enough where he doesn't need to do anything but spin in and take him right over with a double sleeve Seoi Nage knee drop. Now this isn't a shoulder throw sense, but remember, Seoi needs to carry over or across the back. That's exactly what this is. And that's a big body slam right there. He's doing a nice good practice here. Okay? Kind of start to turn in the other direction. Mistakes to keep the camera there. Now watch how he does it. He swings in. Bam. But you see, it's a very, very subtle thing, guys. If he made a big deal, let me have Mike just a second. If I made a big deal of this and tried to pull up on Mike, he's not stupid. He's backing out, or he's going to counter. He's going to do something. He's going to pull his wrist away. He's going to do something. Okay. So what I have to do is be very, very subtle when I'm doing this. It's just a little quick shot. Okay. Becky, my wife, when she did this, this is one of the ways she would set people up with this throw. This was a very nasty throw. Which her point was she would drive this under. Okay? Remember that, Sandy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what she would do, she said, the reason I drove it under was, yeah, to get under here to trap it, because she said it always opened up the near hip. She said that's all I needed. And again, one of our good athletes some time back, Warren Frank, did the same type of thing. He did more of a step. He'd step across like this, and he'd swing under and catch it. You got to make it work for you. But the idea here is what Derek was doing was this double sleeve grip, very low. Don't get up here. It's got to be very low. And it's a subtle move, just a little step, just a little move here. Like I said, Becky swung it under because she trapped both under. Can you do this without hurting the guy? You know, Mike says, oh, wonderful. Swing under like that. See how he trapped him under? Becky threw a number of women with that in her career, both judo and sambo. She swung under like that. They had nothing to break fall with or stop the throw with, and that was the point. But the other point was it opened that side of the hip to let him in. Does that make sense to everybody? It's a very subtle move, and it's a very, it really is done. It's very, when they're really low, when they're very low and avoiding you, they think their hips are safe. Well, you're just opening it up enough, and you're pulling it in and spinning it. Okay, one more time, we'll finish, let you guys practice. So he's very low, he shifts it across, wham. See how big, it's a big throwing movement. No matter what weight class, it can be middleweights, lightweights, heavyweights, light heavies like you guys down here. Any weight class, it really does work. It's a very athletic move. Okay, so expose that hip, double sleeve grip, very low grip, or very low sleeve grip, you got it, okay? It's Sode, you call it Sode Uki Goshi off the knees, Sode Seoi Nage off the knees, whatever you want, whatever you call it Ippon, right? There you go. Okay, let's work on it, guys. Thank So Derek, your angle on, again, we're stealing Becky's idea, my wife Becky Scott. Your angle is what we're doing this. What we're doing is what we call Becky Nage around here, but it's really a Seoi Otoshi type thing. Perhaps somebody, but the angle you're coming in is not square. Now what the idea is, you're just gonna kind of gallop in and shoot one leg back like that, okay? But you're not gonna drop on the knee. I know you're gonna do that. But your angle, you're kind of coming, you're starting a little more to your left to Eric, in relation to Eric's body. So when you shoot in,
boom. Now I'm blocking that hip right
you're blocking, and your hips are directly square in front of Eric's hips when you're doing this.
And that gives me the ability to use my legs.
There you go. Now, and again, you did that. You replicated that well the way Becky used to. She literally threw them over her head, straight over. It wasn't a rolling motion so much as it was a straight over the body motion. Yeah, you want to pick on Steve, maybe, you know. So, but you can see the angle. You're coming at now. When you come in, watch the feet. When you shoot in, boom, boom, and it's, you're kind of like galloping in. And I always looked at it as I was galloping in when Becky was training with me. And that's what we call the Becky Nage, the Becky Seoi Nage, because it was basically a shoot through the middle. Now another one, Koga had a very similar type. He would have more of a stand-up where he shot the leg back as well, but it was more of a straight leg type thing, you know, as opposed to Becky's. Let's look at that one more time, then we'll kind of move on. This is good for future study here. And there we got very, very skillful straight line Becky Nage, Seoi Nage. Okay.
Thanks, Becky.
Okay. So Derek's going to do a Seoi Nage. He hops around and he finishes with an Uchimata. And that is one heck of a throw. So Derek, you're coming in, you're hitting in with a Ippon Seoi Nage. Now, so you're holding with a lapel grip with your left hand, I see, okay. Now as he hops, to avoid, you spin deep in and you swing in with the Uchimata.
So as I'm here, he's already hopped around, and I just have to take a squatty back step. That's it. Boom. And then everything else is just your upward momentum and then twisting.
And really the momentum of him moving around, he's literally walking into the throw.
Right.
Yeah.
And I prefer the lapel, but you can just easily do it with the sleeve.
That's more of a standard Seoi Nage type attack. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the leg motion is very
We're just working on
Jim
this.
Bregman-esque.
I'm gonna go for something, you know.
Back step, squat, put your hip placement over your foot so you're not leaning too forward.
Right. That's the classic step in and then lift up. Yeah. So, but again, one thing that makes this very strong is you're controlling a lot with that Seoi Nage type action where you're hooking your arm under his arm or in the armpit. So can you show that? And then, because that helps make him move around actually.
Right, it's not a fake. I want to throw him with the Seoi Nage. He's just countering it by hopping. So if I fake it, the Seoi Nage grip, I'm never going to get tight enough to pull.
So this is actually a classic example of a continuation move, what the Japanese call a Renzoku Waza. You're continuing on into another move from maybe the initial one.
Right. I think of it as a win-win. If I get you with the Seoi Nage, great. If I don't, you hop around, I'm going to hit his back step and hit you with the Uchimata.
Okay, can you do one more time? So you come into your Seoi Nage, he hops around, and he creates this very nice Uchimata, Hani Goshi, Harai Goshi, you know.
And it kind of depends on where your hips are placed. You know, if I happen to get more over here, it's usually more of a Hani Goshi. If I'm strictly perpendicular, it's usually way more of
Of an Uchimata because you're hitting the inside leg, yeah. So but that initial come in, that Seoi Nage is a very tight one. I want to key in on it just again for a minute. So you're coming into the Seoi Nage, and you lock in.
Whichever way my hands are, it doesn't matter.
That happens.
Get a hold of that arm.
And you never let go of that. That stays, okay?
No, this stays right here. He can hop around all he wants. I don't care. I'm just going to step in.
And catch it. And catch it. So that's really keeping him, making him come up on your hip even better. Very clean. So it's a Seoi Nage Uchimata. Seoi Uchimata, I guess we could call it, huh? There we go. Thank you, gentlemen. Very good technique.
It's what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah, turn He swings in, but did you see that foot? We want to split down the middle Uchimata, okay? Now, there are several kinds, a couple basic kinds. The leg style is more of a hip style Uchimata, but think not so much hips, it's more lift. I want this, and this hikite here, this lifting hand, this pulling hand, I should say, that pops him up, and the right hand, your surite, your pulling hand, sucks it into you. So you don't want a lot of gap in here. Now, okay, got that? Now, see the distance here? This is really good even if guys are bent over, but it's pretty well put right here. Now watch. All Derek wants to do is get his right foot out of the way. Just put it there. That's enough. Just as long as he can get that turn with a back step in super, super deep. That back step's going to be super deep. Now he's doing real slow. But see how deep that is? You've got to be that deep. Then, as soon as you get that super deep split between the legs, you pop it with the Uchimata. You can shoot the tank with your right leg. So go ahead and toss it once. That's it. See how literally you split the guy in half. You're coming a straight line down the middle. It's really, I like to refer to it as a fast foot Uchimata, because as soon as you plant your left leg, your base leg, your driver leg, as soon as that happens, you've got to substitute your sweeping leg, your attacking leg, okay? Watch how he does it again. Comes in. It's not a slow move. You've got to split it. This is, Uchimata means, you know, inner thigh, but it's like, here's the fork in the road, and here's the middle of it. You want to split them right down the middle. That's what it is, splitting them right down the middle. Like a branch of a tree, that's why it's Uchimata. Okay. So let's look at it one more time, and then we're going to do some Makikomi drills. We're going to have to practice it. He swings in, but did you see that foot, that right foot just got out of the way? Don't make a big step like this. It's too exaggerated. He's not stupid. He's not going to fall for that. Okay? Here's your setup with your hands. This is where your hands are so important. So you pop them up, get your foot out of the way, and drive in and bang in.
I always like to make it easy on me, so I want him to do some work for me and give me a real reaction to leaning back. And y'all know I like Seoi Nage, so my entry is going to be about the same, because when I come in for that Seoi Nage, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set him here. He's going to feel that Seoi Nage. He's going to do one or two things. He's going to either hop around or he's going to stop. He's going to bend his knees and he's going to lean back so that I can't throw him forward. If he stops, bends his knees, he leans back, then we'll throw him backwards with this Ura Nage. So I'm here. My arm's already coming through and it's in the front. Then I come here, almost like I'm coming here. My hands do the same thing. You get the same reaction of leaning back. So here, here, and then here. And really low with my hips. Okay? My back's straight, not like this. My back's straighter. And then this hand's going to shoot here. And I like coming this way, so I feel like that I can turn into him more. Sorry. And use my head. Versus if I come in this way, and then my leg comes back this way, if I go here, I feel like that he's more able to turn into me and I might end up on my back. So I like going here. That causes me to turn in. I like going here versus here, because here I'm turning in. And then my head helps here. And that's really the only difference. You're already doing this. You're already doing this. You're already using your head, dropping your hips. The only difference I do is instead of starting over here and going here, I set him here to get that reaction. And then here, here.
So this is your version of Sukui Nage scooping throw. You're really setting him up with a Seoi Nage, and using his hip block or defensive movement against him, you know?
Exactly right.
There we go.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
let's try that a bit, guys. Good move. Okay, then we'll do one more after this, which everybody, and we'll let you practice a bit on your own.
Suplex, Ura Nage, one of my favorite throws. Okay, so, come here, dude. Okay, we use this one a lot as a counter throw. When the other guy comes in to do a hip throw, he walks right into Ura Nage. Okay, so we'll go for a Koshi throw. Okay, so he fits in for Koshi Garuma. I've still got my lapel. I grab his hip, or I grab the belt. Okay, squat, put my hips in, and I turn and look backwards. This one works a lot better than the suplex because I can use my head on his pec to steer him, okay? But it's the same principle. Squat, hips in, arch, and twist. Okay? So again, he fits in, squat, grab the hip, head in on the pec, okay? Arch, and turn. And it looks like I'm kind of going like this, like just falling backwards, but I'm arching my backs, and that starts with your hips. Put your hips in as you arch back, and then turn it. Okay? And the more you can arch that back, the easier it is to pick up bigger guys. Okay? And Ura Nage is really an easier throw to do than the suplex because, again, I have my head on that near shoulder. So I've got far shoulder, near shoulder, hips. All I have to do is hit them up and over.
And guys, we can't emphasize enough with your right hand is holding the lapel. Keep that locked in place. Then your left hand, when he comes into his, look at how we call this a tight waist because you are just grabbing him very tightly at the waist. So with the right hand as the lapel, and that tight waist, you know, keying on that, then when he lifts up and turns him, he gets the big body slam. So you're really locking him in place. You don't have to, like in wrestling or a no-gi situation, you have to grab your hand like a gable grip or a square grip or something like that. You got a gi, use it.
Yeah, use the gi.
Really use the jacket to your advantage.
It's possible to do the grip from like a bear hug or from, you know, like an S grip or gable grip or butterfly, but it's so much harder because the guy can turn out. I don't have any control over his shoulders anymore.
But by Derek having his right hand high on that lapel and his left hand low on the hip, he's really squishing Jacob there.
Okay.
Can you see how, look at that, nice high, see that right hand really high guy, and the left hand low on the hip? And now he's got him stuck. He's really locking his body in place.
So if he tries to turn this way, I got a hold of him. If he tries to turn that way, I got a hold of him. It doesn't matter which way he's going. Okay, and then I use my head for steering.
And that right head, his head in the right shoulder, really, he's just locked his opponent's body quite well. And then he can toss him much more easily.
Right. Whereas, again, I could do it from this grip, but now he can twist, okay? He can get out of this, so I have to do it real quick, which is why I like using Ura Nage when there's a jacket involved, because I can package him up like a sack of potatoes and just send him for a ride, okay? So use your grips. If you've got them, use them, okay? If you don't have them, you know, that's when you start going to alternate grips, right? Okay, but if you've got a gun and it's loaded, you don't go for a sharpened stick against somebody, right? Okay? All right. Let's go.
Gake. Ladies, we do this a lot. I think it's a great throw for women. And I teach it early to our women in our club because we've had so good success with it. One is the power of your hips. Women have very good hip structure. And they're strong there because they give birth. You know, they get strong. It's true. It's just the way you're made. And so this is really good for women, but it's also good for any body weight man. You just got to be flexible enough to get low enough to do this. Okay. This is Ko-Uchi Gake, minor inner hook. Some people also call it Ko-Uchi Makikomi, minor inner wrapping or winding throw. You'll see why they call it minor inner wrapping. Okay. So you can go by either nomenclature. We'd always call it Ko-Uchi Gake here in our club. So that's why it is. Here's what it looks like, so you can take a look at it here. I'm just going to, Derek, just do one so everybody can see. Boom, as soon as you throw it past guard, there you go. That's what it looks like, okay? It's a really low-slung, almost safe attack. No attack's really safe, totally safe, but it's hard to counter. It's hard to counter. And any body weight can do that. So let's take a look at it. You go from there, he comes over. The key thing to make sure is when you throw him, don't stay between his legs. Get over those legs past that guard. Okay? So let's take a look at it. And again, this is a throw newer guys can learn, newer people can learn, but it's a great technique. Again, body weight doesn't matter. It's just a matter of flexibility in the hips and legs to do it. So we're squared up. We got it. Now, Derek, if he's taking a right grip, he's going to be throwing with his left leg. I like doing that for the reason because you can pull on this lapel really well. And that's what he's going to do. So when he pulls Eric's lapel, see, and it's almost like a big stepping back. It looks exaggerated. They are exaggerating right now. Don't do it exaggerated, just set him up. So he does is he just sets him up, bam, he just sets him up quickly. Now, watch, look at some things. He's still got this grip here. Now look at this foot. It's kind of sideways. It's almost like a 45-degree angle. It's going to drive into the mat. It's not forward. That foot has to be sideways now, okay? All right. Now, he's going to squat low. And when he squats low, he's going to drive his shoulder with his left hand. He's going to reach through there, and he's going to loop his leg. He's not going to hook with his leg. He's going to loop with his leg, point his toe, throw him, and come right over the top and finish, okay? All right? So look at this again. Big guys, you're like me. I'm almost 6'4", so I can do this because I just learned to squat low enough. So what I'm doing is I would immediately, as soon as I shoot back, I would hit drop. As soon as this foot here, I knew that was to drop. Okay, so getting a nice low square, and it's almost like I'm forming a T to his body. Okay, and that's what Derek was doing. So just kind of watch him do that, man. So he steps him back. Now see, bam. Did you notice he didn't throw by hooking with the leg? He wrapped the leg inside the leg, inside his left leg, inside his left leg. Okay? See that wrapping movement there? He didn't try to hook him and fall forward. He's really kind of doing, a sacrifice throw in essence. He's really landing on his left hip when he does this. See how he does that? You're throwing with the hook, yes, but it's not so much a hook that really throws it. It's the wrapping the body, driving into it. So it's a body weight type throw. So he steps him again, drops, close. And as soon as you throw him past that guard, keep rolling over him. It's just a habit you should form early on because you want to get past his legs. Okay?
And if you're landing properly, it's easy.
Yeah, it really is easy.
Right? I'm already halfway there. Step over, and the worst that's going to happen is you're in half guard. If you do it improperly, you're like this. He gets his leg out, you're in guard.
And guys who wrestled, I know you're taught to hook, a hook like this. Get away from that. Well, this has to be a little more fluid movement. So drop low, and then wrap. It's a wrapping, not hooking movement, really. They would call it Kobuchi Gake, liner and hook. Maybe it's not the greatest name, but it is a wrapping movement. So can you show it again one more time? Don't let everybody practice it. So step, drop. But did you see how he dropped low? He doesn't come up high and try to hook like this. You've got to lower your level. When he's, sorry, one more time. Sorry, Eric. Now see how he lowers his level? That's really important. He's really squatting low here. See that? The foot is driving sideways at a 45-degree angle. Now, he's keeping hold of his right hand on the lapel. With the left hand, he's reaching through, and you don't necessarily have to grab it. You can if you want to, but I know like in the IJF Judo rules, you can't grab the leg, but you can shoot through. Because what that does is propels you through. And you drive right over, and there's your Kobuchi Gake, Harai Makikomi. Want to give that a try? Really, any body weight could do it. I've seen it used in all body weights, like Judo, Sambo, you name the sport, I've seen it done. We've done no-gi. We've done a no-gi situation, so you don't necessarily need the gi, but the gi really does help. You notice he's using that lapel as a good handle. That's very important, okay? Just work on that, spend a good amount of time on that, we'll just drill it, okay?
It's easier to throw him backwards than it is forward. But I'll set it up. I'll set it up at the forward throw. But let's talk about Ippon Seoi Nage with Coach Dari. And how we break his balance if I don't have both hands on it. Okay? This hand again, I'm going to have that inside, kill that arm. I'm going to have that tight grip so that I can control this arm. Okay, so he can't bend that elbow and get it in front of me to stop me. I'm here. What I'm going to do this time different than here. Here I'm using my forearm and I'm using my shoulder to drive in. But this time I'm going to drop this arm under here and I'm going to use my shoulder right in here like I'm knocking down a door. Okay? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come in like this. Okay? I'm breaking his balance with my shoulder, right here in his chest, and I'm knocking down the door. Okay? This hand is going to do the same thing that it did before. It's going to bend him over. Going here, his leg's here, and then I'll do Coach Gake. Here, I'll hook that leg and wrap around because I'll have his balance broken and I'll have him going that way. I still wind that throw as far to the side as I can so that he can't step over it. Okay? So, we practice it here. Okay, driving our shoulder right through it. Okay? Okay, play with that for just another minute.
So let's. Okay, let's look at Tomoe Nage. Tomoe means, it generally interpreted means circle. Nage means to throw or to throw over some object. Tomoe is a round little thing like this. That's a Tomoe. So the Japanese name this circle throw or round throw, and it really is a well-named technique. There are several different ways to do it. We're going to show the real basic, standard, straight line, step in Tomoe Nage like everybody sees a lot. This may be old-fashioned, but an old coach of mine said it's so old-fashioned it's cool. So here we go. So if you guys could tie up, we got Derek and Mike here. Got a standard kumikata, natural, normal grip here. What Derek's going to do is basically step into Mike. I'll get out of the camera range here. He's going to step into Mike very low. That's his base leg. That's his anchor leg right there. And when he steps in, he's going to swing in and put his other foot in either Mike's hip or his gut somewhere. And your personal preference, whether you put your foot directly in the man's, not on his belt like a lot of teachers tell, or to the side a little bit on his hip, totally up to you, totally up to the person doing it, make it work for you. So I'll come out and do it, get started again, guys. So he's going to step in and he's going to basically roll over. Now we're going to talk about some of the things he's done there to make that a good, efficient throw. By the way, there are a lot of fancy ways to do, maybe not a lot, but several fancier, cooler ways to do Tomoe Nage. This thing still works. This is still a good technique. Really depending on the body weight of the athlete, male or female. You tend not to see this so much at heavyweights, but heavyweights can still do this too, so don't think they can't. We had one of our heavyweights who weighed well over Big Will, but 280. He threw a guy with Tomoe Nage one time, and he was a very large man, so it can be done by just about anybody, really. So look at this. He's got a standard grip. Okay, when he steps in, as Derek steps in, he lowers his level. Okay. Now, what his goal here is to throw his hips very far between Mike's legs, and then put his foot somewhere in Mike's front area here. Could be on the knot of the belt, could be the hips, could be anywhere, but he's going to put it somewhere there. And when he does that, he's going to be rolling under, but he's going to be keeping weight, he's going to be pushing off this foot, this right foot. This is his base or driving leg here. Okay, so go ahead, Derek, come in at your own speed, whatever. And then we like to finish by rolling up. Some people stay there, and like in a kata or a form situation, this is one of the Nage kata throws in Judo. You would stay there, but in our case, for more competitive, more functional approach, performance-driven stuff, performance-based type thing, we want to roll over so we can get right to a quick, top control position. So I'm going to have Derek do it again, standard straight line Tomoe Nage. He's going to, now also another point, when he does come in, he's going to kind of open Mike up. He's going to pop him open with his surikomi or lifting pulling action, which helps open the body here. And that allows Derek a little closer contact or proximity to Mike. And if he does that, he's going to step in and do his thing. There we go. I talked you through it, I made it too slow for you. It has to be done. This is one of those throws that really has to come out of a fairly fast tempo. It's not a real slow tempo technique. So go ahead, Derek, let's do it on your own. And we go right on top, and you can see right on top to a tate shihogatami or a mount situation. Let's look at, we're going to look at Yoko Tomoe Nage, or side Tomoe Nage. In the early days when this throw became popular back in the 60s, very popular, it was also called Tobi Tomoe Nage, or skip-in style Tomoe Nage, because of the different ways they did the setup. But as time went on, as we saw more and more efficiency in this move, we saw it more to the side. So that's why it's often called Yoko Tomoe Nage these days. This is a very versatile throw in just about every body weight class and every male or female, judo, sambo, whatever it may be. So let's take a look at Yoko Tomoe Nage side. By the way, it's a great setup, which we're going to do here in a bit, into Jujigatami, which we really like. So we'll be doing a bit of that too. So let's get the guys here. We got Mike and Derek here. Derek's going to be doing the technique. I'll step over here, guys. Now, when we start our Yoko Tomoe Nage, Derek is going to be leading with his left. He's got a right side grip, but he's going to be leading with his left primarily. Okay, that's his setup leg. That's his base leg or sugar foot, whatever you want to call it. That's because why we do that is because he wants all the space to be able to move under Mike, tuck under him, put his foot right about here somewhere, and throw him over his head. So when he does this, he's going to be, we'll break it down to start. Put your foot in there and roll your head. And watch how he rolls his head under. It's very difficult not to throw him once you do this because of the momentum, the body weight going over. As you can see how that happens. So you notice he wants to start with his left foot, and look at that right foot there, and he comes right over, and he goes over to the top, as you can see. It's very important in learning Yoko Tomoe Nage. Come into it again, leave that foot again, leave the other foot. Okay, now, when he puts that foot up there, that's Derek's cue to curl it. Very shrimp, very tight. Get his elbow in. Don't float your elbow out. Get your elbow in, and that helps put your body in a very compact, tight space. See how the position is here? The back leg is driving off the mat. Back leg here, this is a driving off the mat. Eventually it won't, but right now it's driving off the mat for more power into the throw. Okay? Come on, do it again. Go ahead and stay there, Sandy, with the video. We can start there. So let's go ahead and do it one more time. Actually throw. Right over on top. Very, very useful technique in all body weight classes, but you tend to see this a lot in the lighter weights because this comes out of a very fast tempo in judo and sambo. We see that very fast tempo. Right over, finish it up. There are other ways to do it, to finish out. You can throw across your body. Come on, try it. Come on, yeah, throw it aside. I'll get out of your way, guys. So here's a variation of it, to throw that way. Once you go in, Derek threw Mike across Derek's body. One more time, guys. Just a little different variation. Angle of the throw is different a bit here. And there we have that. That's a very popular way to do it as well. So these are just some variations doing Yoko Tomoe Nage. Now let's take a look at how we like to do Yoko Tomoe Nage right into Juji, because we find great value in that as well. And this is, I first picked it up in Sambo, and we've been using it a lot. Just about any fighting sport we do, we like to do this technique. So can you just demo spinning Juji Tomoe Nage? There we go. So Yoko Tomoe Nage has a lot of value, if nothing else. You may not like it as a throw, but you sure may like it as a setup to get your Jujigatami. And you notice he did a little slightly different. He put his leg on the outside of his foot on the outside of Mike's hip, just as a setup to get the body across. Do that one more time. Right like that. That's also good too. So if that's what you want is a Tomoe Nage set up to a Juji, that's often a good way to get it. So there we have Yoko Tomoe Nage as a throw, and also as a great setup for Jujigatami. We're going to look at Tomoe Nage with a leg assist or a foot assist. Some people call it double leg or both leg Tomoe Nage. Call it what you want, it still works. Here's what happens. I'm going to get out of the way here. Derek, are you going to start first? Okay. What it is Derek's going to come into a very good low straight line Tomoe Nage, and he's going to open up. Now he's starting with a standard grip, sleeve and lapel kumikata grip. Okay, come on out again. And when he does this, he's going to step in. He wants to step in pretty deep. So he's going to put his foot in just like he has every intention to do Tomoe Nage. There's the Tomoe Nage. He came up a little late because he didn't know quite what I wanted to do, but that's okay. He did a good Tomoe Nage. Standard Tomoe Nage, you just use the one leg. Well, this one, he's going to use both of them. So he may start with one and add the second one in to give it a little more impetus and to throw a little more control over Mike's body. And there we go. You can see how he's in there. And now when he does it, he will roll Mike over and come right over on top of him. Notice his both feet are pretty much in the hips. Okay? So one more time, and then we'll let Mike toss you a few times. Come in there. Right on top. Great Tomoe Nage. Mike, why don't you do yours and show that people will do it all a little bit differently. Standard straight line Tomoe Nage, but again, it's just with a leg assist. Right on top. Quite good, quite good. Notice how Mike's feet were right on Derek's hips, and his toes were pointed out, heels in. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Now, let's look at a little more here. Double sleeve grip. When you're doing Tomoe Nage, this type of Tomoe Nage, you know, some throws like Sumigaeshi or corner counter throw, you want to get a big grip over the top. So get a big grip over. This would be not a good grip for what we want to do here. What we want to do is Derek wants to have clear opening inside of the mass of Mike's body here, his chest, hips area. Okay, so it's even better if Mike's really low and defensive, because Mike is giving Derek his hips. He's giving him a lot of space to work in there. There we go. Having a double sleeve grip could be low, could be high, your choice entirely. Depends on you. But you're using double sleeves here grip here on the sleeve. As he steps in, he's just going to come in with a foot assist Tomoe Nage. Right on top. There we go. Kind of hard for the guys to do it slow, but you're doing a great job, guys. Mike, go ahead and do it fast. Do it fast, yeah. Step in. Bang right over. You may pick up also, Derek and Mike, when they're throwing each other, they're kind of steering with their hands and steering with their feet. So if the guy's turning too far to the side, you think you'll lose control or not get him completely onto his back, you may push him with your feet, with your hands a little more over. This is a really good one you can steer with. After you've done this enough, you kind of get the feel of it. And this is a good way to get that feel of it, so you steer them better with both your hands and your feet. So Mike's coming in. Now that leads directly to the next one, which you see some of the old pro wrestlers used to do, the monkey flip, or whatever it would call. Mike almost did that right there. So Mike, get your grip, and basically when you're stepping in, you're going to try to put both feet on. There you go. And that is, when we were kids and doing this in the backyard before we even knew it was judo, we called it the monkey flip because we saw the pro wrestlers do it.
Cowboy throw.
But it is a great throw. It is a double foot Tomoe Nage. Can you do it one more time, Mike? Here, we'll get out your. Guys, why don't you do it before you come back?
That's all right. That's all right.
I stopped you. Sorry. Start back there.
Yeah, they're landing in the sun where I'm not getting a very good picture of them.
Right over on top. So there we have Tomoe Nage. Kind of look at it here. Tomoe means circle or a round thing. Nage means to throw an object over something. And it's clearly a well-named throw because Mike and Derek were becoming round objects and their opponent's body were being thrown over them. Tomoe Nage means circle throw, and you're throwing them over the circle you create. So double leg or leg assist Tomoe Nage, very, very good technique. Certainly puts you in a position to be on top of your opponent when you finish. So there we have it. Pick this up really from Sean Watson, one of the really good athletes at Welcome Back. And it's a good counter grip into a very aggressive Uki, Goshi, whatever you want to call it, just call it Ippon type thing. It's really good. I'm going to start with Derek, and I'm going to have him do it on Eric here. A lot of times when we're gripping, it's really aggressive gripping, and this is where it's a good idea to be able to go left and right in this move, because if he's a righty, most guys are right-handed fighters, so it's a good idea to develop left-handed skills in this move, just to be honest with you. So if we're gripping here, and he beats me on the grip, he gets a grip here, and he's really dominating here. Or he could even have it around here, I'm kind of, my arms are shot, I can't do anything with it. What I want to do is I want to, instead of blocking out, where I'm obviously passive and not aggressive, I want to get this grip here, just above the belt, right about the kidney area on the side of the spine. Just hold it there, just lock it in. Now, that stops him from moving. We're gripping, we're fighting, we're moving around and all this. Okay? Now, want to make sure my hip gets on the inside of his, my left hip on the inside of his right hip. So I'm going to shave that in. So once I get this grip and we're fighting here, I've got this. I make sure there I'm leading there. I'm not way out here. I'm out of space. I'm out of distance. It's really important. Part of grip fighting is not just gripping with your hands, but your whole body. So here we are like this on the inside. Now, as soon as I do this, and I'm on the inside, see how I'm kind of beating this hip on the inside there? You got this grip here. You want a low grip here. So as soon as you start working a low grip, now what you're going to do, don't grab up here because he won't let you have it. But if you kind of pop it down here, he's thinking, oh, he may start to pull away, and as he does that, he's just walking into it. He's helping you a lot. Keep it low here and here. See the grip we've got? See the setup grip? Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is a lot of hand work on this, a lot of hand movement. So it's kind of a Waza or hand technique in that sense too. So when I step in, as I'm going to step in, I'm going to shift sideways into him, and I'm just going to start wheeling with my hands as well. But it's a hip throw. And Sean has a very nice hip throw, and he's not concerned whether he has a fairly wide grip on his posture here with his feet or close. But in any event, he moves across the side and he tosses it. So it's kind of a Tsuri Goshi in that he spins and lifts. So it's just kind of across here, shoot, and you spin, throw him over. And you can make it to a Harai Goshi, you know, Uchimata. Some guys who are Tai Otoshi guys will do Tai Otoshi, they'll take it. Whatever you want to end up with, just make sure you get that hip across it. Okay, so watch the situation. See there, and he gets this low grip, and he comes in, he shoots in, tosses. There's Ogoshi, you could say. Aim toward the kid. Okay, so he gets that low grip, see that low sleeve grip? Shoots in. Okay. Now, you can make it, you're a Tai Otoshi guy, you can make it a Tai Otoshi if you want to. There you go. Turn to Harai Goshi, Uchimata, cross body, Osotogari, any of those things, but the hand action, hip action, it's a real aggressive, kind of a blending of several throws, guys. So when you tie up, I'll let you drill on this in a minute, but here, he's beating Derek at the grip right now. Derek nullifies that grip, not by blocking out, that's where you get in trouble, right? He gets a good solid grip back here. He's got a solid grip on the kind of the kidney area back here. Now notice, as soon as he does that, he starts to sneak his hip in front. So he's got his foot on the inside, that's what you want. As you do that, as he does that, he's going to start getting low. He may push down to kind of make the guy react back. And as he does, he shifts across. There's the move. Big cross body. Cross body Osoto. Some of you guys saw that. He was nice. He didn't throw him real hard. That's very nice of you.
Hard enough.
But you get the idea. You can do Shimata, Tai Otoshi. Sean always did it with a little wider posture on the feet. Don't stance on the feet. It's just his style. That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. He has a little narrower stance and does a little more hip. Sean does a little more hand, but the hand action is really essential. Show that hand action. It's a Tsuri Goshi. It's a lifting hip throw, guys. And see there? And just toss. There you go like that. Sorry this is in your way, but you got the idea. So each of you is going to have a little bit different look of doing this. You really are. But it really is an effective move because it's a good counter grip, and you step across there. You know? Sean always had a nice sliding Uki Goshi, Ogoshi, where you have to grab tight reach around and throw them really hard for a lot of the pawns. This is basically a variation of that, but he's using this grip. We got the grip idea? Okay, let's practice. Let's work on that. Okay, let's look at a very basic throw, but one that's misunderstood by some people. And it's, you know, there's some differences. We're going to look at Uki Goshi to start. Okay, look at Uki Goshi. Uki means to float, but it means to straddle or skim over something. So he's straddling or floating over your hip. Okay, Uki Goshi, floating hip. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And a lot of people mistake it for Ogoshi because they're very similar. They look a lot alike. And the concepts are actually different. Uki Goshi, you get your hip in first, you turn your body, you get your hip in first, and then lock him into place, and you'll throw him over your hip. It's a very good moving, dynamic type throw. Ogoshi is often you lock his hip in, you grab and get his hip in tight, and you come in and pull his hip on you, and then lift him up and over your body. So there are differences there. They say, well, they look a lot alike. They do. Ogoshi, but there are some differences again. Ogoshi, your feet are generally always between his feet when you're doing Ogoshi. And Uki Goshi, your feet will be, you know, a little wider apart. You'll see what Derek does it here with Uki Goshi. I like Uki Goshi here because it's a really good contest throw, and people think they're using Ogoshi. A lot of people are. And it's a good one. So let's do that grip, the kidney grip. So if we're opposite grips here, okay? We got opposite grips here. And a good setup is Derek's got his right hand around Eric's waist here, kind of at the kidney area, the kidney grip on the jacket, low on the jacket here. And this is a great setup for Uki Goshi, all right? And what he's going to do, what Derek's going to do, he's going to step across and get his hip in place and then throw him. Uki Goshi. And it's kind of a sideways Ogoshi. But the thing is, you're throwing, your hips coming in first, then you're loading. Now, if you were to do Ogoshi, when you do Ogoshi, I'm not talking about. When he does Ogoshi, he breaks the balance. Okay, he grabs tight around the waist, and he gets his hip in and really far, and he gets lower, and he's pulling, what he's doing with his hand, he's pulling Eric onto the back part of his body here, and up and over. There's Ogoshi, and the reason it's called Ogoshi, major hip, because that's the major thing you're throwing him on. Okay, that's the major action of the throw. Okay, and Uki Goshi, you're floating him over your throw, over your hip, and it's more of a hip in place first, and then quick step, and the feet are different too. Watch his feet in this one. When he does Uki Goshi, his feet aren't really squatting low, they're kind of far apart almost. You see, they're a little farther apart. So the foot action is different in Uki Goshi than Ogoshi. So, you know, when you're around the black belts, you should know these differences between the two concepts of these two hip throws. And they're both Koshi Waza or hip techniques. Okay? So, one more time, let's look at how we do that. And a good setup, a good way to learn it, even for beginners, I think, and certainly for people who are advanced, good Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo people, is an opposite Kinkyo-Yotsu setup here, opposite grip, stance grip situation. And Derek's got a low grip around the waist here at the kidney area, and he can use that to pull like it's like getting tighter, but he's got a good grip here. And as he moves sideways to Derek's left, he's going to step in and shoot his hip in. Okay. But you notice he pulled, he has hip in position first, then pulled it on, and glide and slide over his hip. Okay.
You shouldn't feel a lot of hitch to it. He should just go right over your head.
Uki Goshi is a very smooth technique. It's very smooth to see. And, you know, a little trivia here, it's been said that it was Jigoro Kano, the founder of Judo, was his favorite technique. And a lot of the reason I think some of the stuff I've read, he said it because it stressed technical skill so much and movement, good movement so much. And this Uki Goshi is certainly based on good movement. Okay? Want to try it? Let's do some Uki Goshi. Okay, we're going to work on Ogoshi. Ogoshi is major hip throw, and it's one of the fundamental throws in Judo, Sambo, Jiu-Jitsu. You know, it goes by different names and different things, but certainly in Judo, we call it Ogoshi, major hip throw. And hip techniques, Koshi Waza, hip techniques, are a big part of the of what we do in Judo. And this is a fundamental thing to learn. Okay, so let's have Coach Don take just throw Mike once with a basic Ogoshi so we can get a look at it. So you get a good look at it, guys. There you go, Ogoshi. Okay, and I'll tell you what, it's a great throw for. You know, it's one of these things that's a basic throw, but it's one that you'll see at all levels of competition or in self-defense or anything. It really is. The key here is this, is what Don's going to do on Mike, he's going to break his balance. Now, you'll usually do it moving, the guy moving into it. We're doing it stationary, so you can learn the very basics of it, okay? So when he does this, when he breaks the balance, see this hand here? This is the hikite, the pulling hand. He's really pulling hard. This is a big factor in this throw, okay? All right, we want to back out a little bit so you get the full feel of it. Okay, now, turn it over. when he does this, watch what Don does with his right hand. He's going to grab around the waist. So he grabs tightly around the waist. And I call it tight waisting, because that's what you're doing, grabbing tight around the waist. And he traps it. He's grabbing right about the hip here. You can grab the belt. But I think by grabbing the hip, the bone here at the hip, you've got a lot more control. And what he's going to do, he's going to load Mike up onto his hip. And he's going to turn around, I'll do that in a way, and he's just going to throw him right over his hip. Now, one of the defining features of Ogoshi, as opposed to a throw like Uki Goshi, floating or straddling his throw, is that the attacker, Tori, in this case Coach Don here, his feet are on the inside of Mike's feet, the defender's feet, okay? And you kind of, you'll see when I show you here, his feet are in the middle, you know, and that's a defining feature. Big thing here is you want to pull, grab them and load them on your hip. And one thing he wants to do when Coach Don does it, he wants to make sure the back of his lower back here is touching the front of Mike's waist, like the knob of the belt, okay? That's a real key thing, because that pulls him, he want to feel him on his back, okay? By grabbing him tight and pulling him in, that's loading him up. And really what he's doing, the big throw happens. You're throwing with the major movement as the fulcrum's over the hip. The hands do a lot of work here because you're lifting them up and over your hip. That's what you're doing. So watch it again. And he turns around and he throws him right over the hip. And he's doing it slow so you guys can see it. But you see how he loads it. Let's do a different angle. He's kind of, there you go. That's a good angle for me. Now watch how he comes from this angle. He comes in, grabs tight. And the key thing here is he's pulling it in, up into him. That's the key thing here. It's a real tight, strong movement. And that's why the major movement is the hip. You're throwing with this thing is a really big deal. That's what you pull him onto and lift him up and over. You notice his feet. When he's doing it, he's kind of lifting with his feet as well. That helps lift him up and over the hips even better. Do it just more times. Just watch how his feet action, just watch all the body action here. So then he turns him right over, and from this angle. You see how he picked him, thank you. You see how he picked him up, tight waisted him, turned and loaded him, and then threw him. That's what Ogoshi is about. It's a major hip movement. It's the big movement of what's going on here. Okay, got that pretty good? All right, let's give that a try. It's an excellent throw. It really is.
My arms aren't as long, and I'm not as tall. So the only time when I would do a Makikomi, I would get a high collar grip. And if I can get them bent over like this, hard for me to reach back here or even reach across here. If you can, that's great. Really difficult for me to get that in competition. So what I would do is go from here, and I think in my head, I'm going to come around here, and instead of grabbing, I'm going to crush this shoulder. And I come down as hard as I can on this shoulder, and then switch, lead with the hips, break the balance this way. But everything's really basically the same, except I'm not hanging on with this arm. I'm here, and when I come in here, I'm coming down on that shoulder. And I think about it that I'm going to crush that shoulder, and that's what I use, and this hand goes in to break the balance. So it's just here, and then sorry. But everything's really basically the same, except my right hand. Here, and then